firearms. They estimate $5,000 in damages inside the club. And investigators now confirm Hernandez Duron is in the U.S. illegally, which means by law, he would be barred from carrying firearms. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
This week, the two Tremont police officers who were killed in the line of duty will be laid to rest. The funerals for Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada will be held this Thursday and Friday at the Utah State University Spectrum. There will also be a public viewing this Wednesday at Bear River High School in Tremont for both officers from 3 to 7. We will air the funerals live for you here on KSL News Radio and streaming on the KSL News Radio app. The Box Elder School District has decided to close school for those 2 days so students and staff can attend the funerals for the two officers. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
The district sent out a statement today saying they recognize the importance of allowing families to attend the funerals and assist in community projects for the fallen officers. So all district schools will be closed Thursday and Friday. And on Wednesday, the schools will be on their early out schedule ahead of the officers' viewing at Bear River High School. The district says they know a lot of people would be absent if school were in session during the funerals, and they believe the time should be set aside to come together as a community. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
A Box Elder County family, decided to help the families of the two fallen officers by setting up a lemonade stand over the weekend. KSL TV's Shelby Lofton spoke with Sherry Kimber and her two sons, Caden and Carson.
Our lemonade stand was like the epicenter of a lot of people to be able to help that didn't know how.
It was a huge success.
Years past, the best we could get was 1,000. And we just beat that.
They raised $1,457. They'll donate it to the fallen officers' families.
Sherry says she will continue taking donations for the officers' families on Venmo through tonight. A DoorDash driver is in the hospital after he was shot outside a Panda Express in St. George. This happened yesterday when the driver was going to pick up an order and ended up getting into a fight with the suspect, Jesus Salcido Felix. Police believe Salcido Felix shot him in the abdomen and then left the scene with his girlfriend and baby. He later called police to report what had happened. He was arrested on suspicion of aggravated assault. KSL's top national stories. Thousands of school children are headed back to school today in Washington, D.C., right as thousands of National Guard troops were given the go-ahead to carry weapons around the city. President Trump has continued his praise of the Guard and said that their actions are cleaning up the city.
We always have a murder a week. They call it a murder a week. You come here from Iowa, you come here from Indiana, you come here from Idaho, because you're so proud of your country, you love your country, and then you get murdered. Your son gets murdered, your daughter gets murdered, you get murdered. See the media, you get murdered. Many of you have been mugged in Washington, you just don't want to talk about it.
The White House says the troops are in town to deal with a surge of crime, but D.C. officials say crime has been steadily declining. U.S. officials confirm that planning is also underway to potentially send National Guard forces to Chicago. President Trump has also threatened to send National Guard troops to New York and Baltimore. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the latest.
Democratic Governor Maryland's Wes Moore told the president, quote, "If you are not willing to walk our communities, keep our name out of your mouth." Trump lashing out, writing, "If Wes Moore needs help, I will send in the troops," which is being done in nearby D.C. and quickly clean up the crime. But this year, Baltimore is also seeing a double-digit decrease in gun violence, homicides, and shootings.
Troops are reportedly going to Chicago to address crime, homelessness, and illegal immigration. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Legal experts say it could be months before we learn what the FBI took from John Bolton's home and office. President Trump's former national security advisor has been a vocal critic of the president and his administration. Here's ABC's Catherine Falders on the Start Here podcast.
They left with boxes. Those boxes, I'm told, were full of documents. Of course, they have to go through those documents. They presume that some of those documents have classification markings on them. That's how they got the search warrant. They seized electronics. They seized all sorts of things that now the FBI is tasked with sifting through to see if any of those items, documents, for example, that were listed on that search warrant are things that they found in the search.
FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X, FBI agents on a mission after the FBI showed up at Bolton's home. He also said no one is above the law. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. We still have delays on northbound I-15 going through the construction, and most of that is in Roy and Riverdale. You use a lot of time to get through there because you do have lane shifts and lane reductions. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Do you know why more homeowners choose Any Hour Services for help when it's time to replace their air conditioners? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the main reasons people choose Any Hour Services is because of our people, processes, and convenience. People tell us all the time that there's just something different about having an Any Hour Services technician in their home. That's why most of our over 18,000 Google reviews mention our technicians by name. Another reason is our 7-step install process that we call the Any Hour Difference. It all starts with a needs analysis where you explain what you like and dislike about your current system. This helps us design and size a system that fits your comfort and efficiency preferences as well as your home's airflow requirements. As for convenience, most of our installs are completed in one day. We also have flexible, no money down financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. So if you've been thinking about getting a new air conditioner, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story this half hour, a man has been arrested on suspicion of nearly 24 charges after firing shots at officers from the Park City Gun Club over the weekend. KSL News Time, 12:08. A Utah Highway Patrol trooper was able to stop a wrong-way driver on I-15 in Utah County yesterday. Troopers say the driver was heading south in the northbound lanes near Springville. He was nearly all the way to Payson when UHP says a trooper crashed into the back of the SUV to stop it. Both the man and the trooper only sustained minor injuries. They don't believe the driver was impaired, just a little confused. You can find video of a near miss with that SUV on the KSL News YouTube channel. We've been seeing a lot less wrong-way crashes in Utah this year.
We've been, really focusing on them for the last several years because we have had such a rash of them in the years prior to this.
So far this year, we've only had 10 wrong-way crashes on our freeways and divided highways compared to 24 last year, according to data provided by the Utah Highway Safety Office. That's more than a 58% decrease. Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden tells me he thinks the decrease is partly due to more people being aware of the problem and just making better decisions.
Most of these are impaired drivers, but we do get a few that it may be a confused driver or somebody that just doesn't know where they are.
Though since there are still 4 full months left before the end of the year, those numbers could go up. But so far, Roden says
that's a good trend for us.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The S line, which runs perpendicular to the tracks lines in Salt Lake City, will soon be extended. Currently, the east end terminates close to Fairmont Park, but Josh Van Jura with UDOT says it will soon end close to 13th East.
So crossing over to the east side of Highland, providing much better access to the Senior Center, the U of U Medical Center, and future planned transit in the area.
The cost of the extension is estimated to be $43 million with funding from the city, state, and UTA. Driving in the Sugar House area can expect more delays as construction crews work on 13th East. KSL News Radio's Virl Johansson has more.
City officials say they need to repave the road to make it safer for drivers, cyclists, even pedestrians. Crews started working between 2100 South and I-80 yesterday and hope to have this section done by mid-September. Then they'll repave the section between I-80 and Zenith Avenue with plans to finish by the end of November.
All the construction is happening overnight, so there aren't as many delays. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. What's happening, Ricky?
Right now, we do have road work causing delays in Weber County northbound on I-15 Roy into Riverdale. Once you're past the I-84 junction, you do have much better speeds. We also had reports of a lot of vehicles with flat tires after going through that work zone. So be careful traveling through that stretch. I'm sure the road's been cleaned up by now. But again, just anticipate reduced speeds as well as lane restrictions. Also in the heart of the valley. The collector ramp is still closed from an earlier vehicle fire northbound I-15 at 2100, 1300 South. That ramp from the freeway from both northbound I-15 and I-80 westbound is closed. I really don't know when they're going to be able to open that up. We'll keep you posted, but plan ahead to avoid it and use an alternate route. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
How about some more rain chances today, folks? 89 for a high, scattered thunderstorms by afternoon and evening. 69 overnight, mostly cloudy skies, bumping back to 87 tomorrow, scattered storms. Into Wednesday, isolated thunderstorms, but cooler, 81 degrees. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's partly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, 82 degrees. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos. There's been another animal hoarding case with nearly 100 animals rescued from a home in the lower avenues this weekend. We will talk to the Humane Society of Utah about it. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
KSL News Time 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the Box Elder School District is closing schools on Thursday and Friday, so students and staff can attend the funerals of the officers killed in Tremont last week. I'm KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson.
Second, a DoorDash driver is in the hospital after he went to a Panda Express in St. George for an order and ended up getting shot in a fight. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Slowdowns northbound I-15 getting into Weber County in Roy and Riverdale. That is due to road work and a ramp still closed. It's a collector ramp to get to 2100 or 1300 South or West Temple. That ramp is closed from westbound I-80 and northbound I-15. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thunderstorms remain in the forecast with highs in the 80s for the next couple of days. I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 82 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Earlier this month, President Trump deployed National Guard troops to the nation's capital and federalized the Washington, D.C. police force. In the Oval Office today, the president says the surge of patrols has led to a fall in crime and pledged to deploy troops to other cities like Chicago, Baltimore, and New York. ABC's Jay O'Brien says it comes as the defense secretary signed off on arming National Guard troops.
More than 2,200 National Guard troops in the nation's capital now armed. Many seen overnight carrying service-issue pistols, others armed with M4 rifles. All part of what President Trump is calling a crackdown on crime in Washington, D.C. This despite violent crime in the district falling to a 30-year low, down 26% since last year.
In the Oval Office, President Trump signed a wave of executive orders today. It includes a directive to end no cash bail for defendants in Washington, D.C. The president says he wants to expand cashless bail directive to other cities.
Cashless bail, they thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street. Any street all over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C.
The NAACP and other civil rights groups say ending the practice will mean lower-income defendants will be negatively impacted. In Gaza, the Hamas Health Ministry says more than a dozen civilians were killed by Israeli airstrikes at Nasser Hospital, including the deaths of 4 journalists. The IDF making a push into Gaza City to defeat Hamas. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
When ambulance crews and reporters arrive, another strike hits. Hamas says more than a dozen people have been killed. Israel says they regret any harm to uninvolved individuals. 2 weeks ago, an Israeli strike killed 6 journalists outside a different hospital, and the Committee to Protect Journalists accuses Israel of deliberately targeting reporters and camera operators to stop information from leaving Gaza.
You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Almost 100 dogs are being treated after they were saved from a hoarding situation in Salt Lake City over the weekend. Joining me now live is Pet Resource Center Director Julie Ulvestad with the Humane Society of Utah. Thank you so much for being with me, Julie. What do we know about this situation?
Well, some neighbors had been noticing something off about the house for quite some time. And over the weekend, the Salt Lake City Police Department responded. They immediately called in Salt Lake County Animal Services, who took the animals. My understanding was about 97 dogs came in on Saturday. We got a call from our friends over at Salt Lake County asking for some support because they had their kennels were completely full already and they didn't have enough space to be able to house these dogs. So we're happy to have those kinds of partnerships to take the dogs. They are small breed dogs. They all appear to be interbred Chihuahuas, Shih Tzus, some Scruffy Terrier types. They're in good condition now, but you can see that they have been in some filthy conditions prior to now.
So how many of these little animals do you have?
We took 36 dogs from them yesterday, trying to free up some kennel space. 24 of those were from this particular home. We're trying to make more space so we can take more this week from them.
So what will happen with the dogs now?
Right now, they need vet care. So first order of business right now is bathing them, which is what we're doing. They've already had their shots, deworming updated. Their vets are going through them. I just passed our vets going through a litter of Chihuahua puppies to make sure that they're healthy and their mama is healthy as well. There's a few older dogs that one needs maybe his eye enucleated. So we're just seeing what sort of help that they'll need. They are friendly comparatively for having that many dogs. What you usually find is that they are very shy because they haven't spent a lot of time with people. But these guys are pretty friendly for what they've been through.
This is the second major animal hoarding case that we've covered in recent months. What generally is the motivation behind animal hoarding?
Yeah, it tends to be connected to mental illness. Anxiety disorders can lead to some hoarding of possessions and sometimes live animals. I think it's important to, I think our initial responses tend to be anger when you find out the conditions animals are kept in, but having compassion for the person who is experiencing that same environment that they have unintentionally created. It's important. It's also important, like this neighbor who alerted people for help, to look out for your friends and neighbors, to find out what's going on with them, to see if we can intervene a little sooner before things get out of control and they suffer and the animals suffer as well.
Julie, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Absolutely. Take care.
You too. Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Pet Resource Center Director Julie Ulvestad with the Humane Society of Utah. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Delays remain on northbound I-15 going from Davis into Weber County. The slowest portion starts as you're approaching 5600 South in Roy. And then after the I-84 junction in Riverdale, you pick right back up to good speeds. But through that work zone where there are lane restrictions, you'll see delays. In Salt Lake County, all our valley freeways are seeing good speeds on the main flow. But we still have a ramp closure. Looks like they may be close to opening it up. It's the collector ramp that's closed from an earlier vehicle fire this morning. The ramp from northbound I-15 or westbound I-80 to get to 2100 South, 1300 South, or West Temple. So you will need to find an alternate route. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. 89 today. Scattered thunderstorms by the afternoon and evening. 87 for tomorrow. Scattered storms possible. Keeping those scattered thunderstorm chances on Wednesday. 81. That's all we get for a high. 82 on Thursday. Scattered storms. Then we dry things out. Partly cloudy on Friday. 84. 87 mostly sunny on Saturday. Sunday. 88 mostly sunny. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A bit of sunshine, 82 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Well, it couldn't keep going up forever. The Dow down by nearly 300 points this hour. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Next big holiday, it's right around the corner, and it's Labor Day. It's a time to kick back and relax and recover from all of the spectacular things you did during the summertime. And, of course, the effort of getting the kids back to school. It's time to go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, don't you think? Hotel Park City or downtown Salt Lake City. Wrap up the summer, kick off the fall with your reservations at either location, where you are going to get a wonderful meal served in such an incredible way at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And whichever entree you choose, whether it's one of their famous steaks or seafood, poultry, maybe it's something special on the menu, it will be cooked to perfection, exactly the way you like it, and served on a 500-degree sizzling plate. Side dishes to die for. The desserts, oh, you've got to save room. It's time to make your reservations. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Hey, nice truck. And wow, what's that on the back?
Oh, that's my new truck bed cover from Jordan Camper. It's Mondo durable and dent resistant.
Oh, really?
And it looks ultra cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Come to Jordan Camper at 7000 South State in Midvale and see our truck tops designed to look great and many choices to fit your needs. With over 200 variations to choose from, create the perfect top to fit your truck's work requirements. Rugged and durable, featuring heavy-duty side doors. Also, ask about our ladder racks and tonneau covers that are adjustable for all sizes of pickups.
Jordan Camper, family owned and operated for over 100 years. Being the industry leaders in our field, we have the expertise needed to solve any problem you might have. Located on 70th South State Street in Midvale, Utah. Call us at 801-255-1512 or find us on the web at jordancamper.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KSL News Time 1225. Don't be surprised if your health insurance premiums go up next year.
After many years of relative stability, the health insurance market right now is in a period of uncertainty, says Larry Levitt, an executive vice president at the nonprofit KFF, which studies healthcare. Higher costs for prescriptions and more expensive medical treatments are driving up costs for insurers and employers. That could leave patients paying more for doctor visits and medicines, especially for those who get individual coverage through the marketplaces, where insurers are predicting the government will end some of the support that now helps people buy coverage. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, furniture is next in line to be hit with tariffs. The Trump administration says they're looking to see how the tax could impact imported furniture. Sellers like Wayfair, RH, and Williams-Sonoma all saw their shares drop after the news was announced. Luxury brand Louis Vuitton is getting some flack for the launch of its cosmetic line. It has more than 70 products starting at $50 and running up to $250. Lots of people online are in shock and disapproval after seeing the $160 lipstick. What? Others say it's luxury, of course, and it's going to be expensive. Pasta lovers are in luck. Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl is officially back. Now through mid-November, customers can get as much pasta, salad, soup, and breadsticks as they want for just $14. That price hasn't changed since 2013. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 284 points, about 0.75%, sitting at 45,350. S&P is down by 11. The Nasdaq, it's up by 27 points. SpaceX has announced it's canceled the 10th launch of the Starship moments before the flight was set to begin.
More disappointment for the SpaceX Starship, which Elon Musk hopes to use to take humans to the moon and Mars. Its 10th test flight, scheduled for last night, was scrubbed just moments before it was set to start. SpaceX saying there was an issue with ground systems. Starship's most recent tests had fiery endings, one exploding on the launch pad. Another sent debris streaking across the sky after what SpaceX called a rapid unscheduled disassembly due to mechanical failures.
ABC's Sophie Flay reporting.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. What's going on, Ricky?
We still have some slow speeds on northbound I-15 in Weber County. It's all due to construction going through Roy and into Riverdale. Once you're past the I-84 junction, everything opens up and you're back to good speeds. Salt Lake County Freeway seeing a delay-free drive despite having a ramp that's still closed. It's the collector ramp from either westbound I-80 or northbound I-15 to 2100, 1300 South or West Temple. That is due to an earlier vehicle fire. The rest of your Valley freeways and I-15 in Utah County seeing a delay-free drive. Do you need heating and air conditioning, plumbing, or electrical? Call At Your Service Pros at 801. Your Pro at Your Service Pros is one of the highest rated companies on both Google and Yelp. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Highs will be topping in the upper 80s today. Scattered thunderstorms by afternoon and evening. 69 in the overnight, mostly cloudy skies. 87 on Tuesday, thunderstorms. Keeping those storm chances in there on Wednesday, 81. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 82 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. Almost 100 dogs were rescued after Salt Lake County Animal Services found them all to be living in the same house. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Animal Services was called to a home in the Lower Avenues this weekend after a neighbor called with a concern. There, they found nearly 100 dogs. Communications and Development Coordinator for Animal Services, Ashley Bales, says the house was overrun.
We brought in 97 Chihuahua type animals and one tortoise.
Bales says luckily, volunteers, foster families, and other agencies stepped in to help. The Humane Society of Utah picked up 27 of those dogs brought in, along with 9 others who were already at the shelter. The owner of the home was reportedly not arrested and is cooperating with officers. Bales says a majority of the dogs are doing okay, and they should be ready for adoption in the next few weeks. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A paraglider has been taken to the hospital this morning after crashing at Mount Timpanogos. The Utah County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team was called in to assist just before 9. He was hoisted out and taken to a nearby hospital via life flight for a possible broken leg. The state has spent $29 million on wildfires this year, and most of those have been human-caused. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
Of those $29 million, the federal government will likely pay for $20 million, according to the Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands Director, Jamie Barnes. She told the Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands there have been 801 fires so far, and 70% of those have been human-caused.
In previous years, the number of human-caused fires has been closer to around 50%. We had a number of new fires break out around the state over the weekend. The Mapleton fire in Utah County burned about 50 acres and is 30% contained. Fire officials say it was started by kids. We're also tracking a new fire start in Millard County. The Widemouth fire south of Kanosh has burned about 500 acres. It was started by lightning and is currently 8% contained. The Buckley Draw fire in Provo has burned more than 450 acres in the last week, but officials say they've had more drone intrusions than they have ever seen at a fire. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson reports.
It's illegal to fly a drone in an active wildfire area and can carry felony charges. Sierra Hellstrom with the Northern Utah Type 3 Incident Management Team says they have to ground aircraft if a drone is in the area, slowing fire efforts. But if a pilot runs into a drone while flying, it's extremely dangerous and puts lives at risk in the air and on the ground.
Hellstrom says the most drones that she had ever seen at a fire was 2, but as of this morning, they have had 12 at the Buckley Draw fire, forcing them to ground their air operations. Law enforcement is actively looking for the people flying those drones. The fire is currently 42% contained. Rain showers are moving through the state and could potentially help with fires, but they pose a different kind of danger. Today, there is probable flash flooding in Utah with rain showers predicted throughout the state. Linda Chang with the National Weather Service says that these storms could help with some of the fires that are burning.
The thing with, summertime thunderstorms, they'll be kind of hit or miss. So if they actually get a good shower over them, then it should definitely help. But there's no guarantee that they'll actually get rain on.
She says this rainy weather is predicted to last through Wednesday, and anyone looking to get outdoors and especially into any slot canyons should check the weather and potentially make alternative plans. President Trump has signed an executive order that aims to end cashless bail in the nation's capital, and what the White House says is an effort to reduce crime. More from ABC's Karen Travers.
The president saying that people will be more likely now to be held in federal jail, and they will look at people who have committed local crimes or are going to be charged with local crimes and hold them in federal jail or charge them with federal crimes, because that does not have cashless bail. So they're essentially trying to set up a different tier of a system for people committing crimes in D.C. because that cashless bail applies to D.C. Superior Court, but not federal jail.
The NAACP and other groups say ending the practice will mean lower income defendants will be negatively impacted. KSL's top national stories. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is back in ICE custody just days after being ordered freed from a detention facility in Tennessee. Abrego Garcia is the man who was mistakenly sent to a detention facility in El Salvador back in March. And after a lengthy legal back and forth, he was released from criminal custody this weekend. His attorney, Simon Sandoval Moschenberg, says that little to no information was shared about where ICE was taking Abrego Garcia now.
There was no need for them to take him into ICE detention. He was already on electronic monitoring from the U.S. Marshal Service and basically on house arrest. The only reason that they've chosen to take him into detention is to punish him.
Abrego Garcia's attorneys have filed a lawsuit in an effort to block any deportation plans that federal agents may have. He could be deported to Uganda. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Israel is continuing its push into Gaza City in an effort to eventually occupy it completely. Tanks and explosions have been reported in the area as one major UN agency says famine has hit parts of Gaza.
Benjamin Netanyahu says the takeover is needed to defeat Hamas and release the remaining hostages. But humanitarian groups say it would be catastrophic for the 500,000 people who've taken refuge there. On Friday, a famine in the city was confirmed by the Global Monitor for Food Security. That's a finding Israel rejects.
That is ABC's James Longman reporting. First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
Delays linger. It's all due to road work in Weber County, northbound I-15, Roy and Riverdale. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
After losing more than 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss, I can tell you that if you want to lose weight very quickly and without a huge amount of effort, Salt Lake City Fat Loss is the way to go. And it's an all-natural plan, so you don't have to worry about any weird side effects from any sort of medications. It's just a simple combination of foods, natural foods, that help burn off that stored belly fat very quickly. So that helps you stay motivated and it helps eliminate the frustration of having to work out for more than an hour a day just to boost your metabolism. It's a simple plan. It fit perfectly into my busy schedule. Right now, I'm on maintenance, and they're helping me to keep that weight off. I've lost more than 40 pounds, but many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Learn how you can save $200 now at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. That's slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, drones have caused fire crews at the Buckley Draw Fire in Provo to ground their aircraft 12 times. Officials want to remind people it's illegal to fly drones in a fire zone. KSL News Time 1238. University of Utah researchers say that exposure to industrial pollution can have effects that last for generations. KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez has more.
According to the study, pregnant women who are exposed to polluted air can affect the health of their children and any future grandchildren.
We did another study looking at just the prenatal exposure to industrial emissions here in Utah, and we found those links with intellectual disability. And then our new study is adding these exposures to the, grandmothers, and also finding links to the grandchild's risk of intellectual disability.
Professor of Sociology Sarah Gruninski says in the future they will study how pollutants affect the risk of children developing asthma and cardiovascular diseases. She says research shows there needs to be a stronger regulation to limit pollutants in the air. Josue Sanchez, KSL News Radio.
Utah Food Bank is taking over the Utah Diaper Bank and will launch the UFB diaper program. The bank says it's planning to expand the distribution statewide and ensure it continues. Last year, it provided almost 2 million diapers. A week of celebration has wrapped up in Argentina as the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square performed several times in the country as part of their world tour. Now, they also celebrated 100 years of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in South America. KSL TV reports around 9,000 people attended their Friday and Saturday concerts.
I cry a lot. I feel so grateful to have this opportunity to be here.
The choir is returning to Utah for a break before heading to Sao Paulo, Brazil in February. Generation Z has come up with a new term for disengaging from work called quiet cracking on TikTok. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more tales.
Basically, quiet cracking is the same thing as quiet quitting. That's from a labor and employment attorney who spoke on Inside Sources. She says quiet cracking more closely describes the emotions employees are feeling, and it can lead to other workers picking up on the dissatisfied vibes.
Sylvester says companies are losing more than $400 billion a year from employees who check out of their jobs, so it's important to mentor workers and give them more training if needed. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
A delay-free drive on your Salt Lake County freeways, but we still have the ramp closed. This is the collector ramp at northbound I-15 and westbound I-80. It's the ramp that would get you to either West Temple, 1300 South or 2100 South. That ramp still closed due to a vehicle fire from this morning. They'd hoped to have it open by now. It's just not going to happen. We'll keep you posted when it is open. If you're traveling northbound I-15 into Weber County, it's still slow due to construction with a lane restriction northbound I-15 in Roy and Riverdale. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife. And excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We had some pretty good pockets of rain over the weekend. We'll do it again today. 89 for a high, scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. Overnight, overcast skies, 69 the low, 87 tomorrow afternoon with scattered storms in play. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, partly cloudy, 82 degrees. And coming up on Midday, a new report finds that Utah's laws are among the nation's best in protecting free speech. We will talk to one of the authors behind that report. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit NPSstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. NPSstore.com.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 12:45. The three things you need to know this hour first.
97 dogs and 1 tortoise are getting examined and treated after Salt Lake County Animal Services took them from the same home in the lower avenues. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second search and rescue crews had to help hoist down a paraglider who crashed into Mount Timpanogos this morning. He was then life-flighted to the hospital. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
After several hours closed, crews are finally picking up those orange barrels and opening up that collector ramp. It's the ramp from westbound I-80 or northbound I-15 to go to West Temple 1300 South, 2100 South. Again, the ramp is now opening up. Still use some caution passing those crews. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Monsoon moisture streams into the state, at least for the first half of this week. I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 82 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In a flurry of executive orders signed today, President Trump issued a directive that would criminalize burning the American flag. The Supreme Court has already ruled flag burning is protected under the First Amendment. ABC's Karen Travers says the Trump administration now wants the High Court to revisit the decision.
They're looking at the scope of the First Amendment as it relates to that 1989 ruling that protected flag burning, and also trying to do prosecution of people that violate flag burning laws that are on the books. We got to see more details about this, but I think you can also imagine this is something else that will likely see litigation when this moves forward.
Days after his release from a Tennessee detention facility to await his human smuggling trial, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was detained by immigration authorities in Baltimore when he appeared for an immigration appointment. His attorneys say ICE may have plans to deport him to Uganda. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed in afternoon trading. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The new report for the Institute for Free Speech shows that many states still fail to adequately protect free speech. But in Utah, we get an A+ for our efforts. Joining me now live is David Keating, president of the Institute for Free Speech and co-author of the report. And David, thanks for being with me.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So what type of criteria do you look at when you're talking about the efforts to protect free speech?
Well, what we're looking at here is each state's anti-SLAPP laws. Now, SLAPP stands for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation. And that means essentially somebody doesn't like something you've said or posted online, and they file a lawsuit against you that's frivolous. And an anti-SLAPP law allows you to go to court and get that frivolous lawsuit dismissed right away and get your attorney fees paid when you win the motion to dismiss the lawsuit. So it's a key protection for free speech.
So what is Utah doing that gives us that A+?
Well, Utah modeled its law. It passed, I think, in 2023, but I'd have to check the exact date. Utah used to have a D-, which meant that the law wasn't very good. It didn't cover much speech. But after it was amended, it was either 2022 or 2023, it modeled it after the Uniform Law Commission's Model Act. And the Uniform Law Commission is one of these nonpartisan groups where both Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives work together to come with model laws that each state should adopt. Utah took the Model Act and passed it, and that's why its grade went up.
What can Americans do to be better protecting free speech?
Well, there are a lot of things that we could do, but one hole in this effort to get rid of frivolous lawsuits when you exercise your First Amendment rights would be to have a federal anti-SLAPP law as well, because the state laws only protect you in state courts, and not all of the state laws will protect you if someone files a lawsuit against you in a federal court. So we're working also to get a federal anti-SLAPP law passed soon.
So, David, just address free speech in the country in general. How are we doing?
Well, compared to just about any place in the world, I think we're doing really well. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. There's plenty of room for improvement, not only in anti-SLAPP laws, but in other laws that restrict our right to criticize elected officials. And a lot of these laws are known as grassroots lobbying laws or campaign finance laws. Many of those laws are either unconstitutional or in need of serious repair.
David, appreciate your time. Thank you for being with me.
You're welcome.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is David Keating. He's the president of the Institute for Free Speech. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
That ramp is now open. They're loading the last of the orange barrels that had it blocked off for hours onto the truck, and the crews are clearing out. This is that collector ramp from westbound I-80 or northbound I-15 to get to 2100 South, 1300 South, or West Temple into downtown. So the ramp is opening from the earlier vehicle fire. That's some very good news. We're back to a quiet drive on all the Salt Lake County freeways. We do have slowdowns still. This is due to construction in progress with possible lane restrictions northbound I-15, Roy into Riverdale. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast calling for rain chances the first half of the week. Second half, things dry out. 89 today, scattered thunderstorms by the afternoon and evening hours. 87 tomorrow, scattered storms possible. Keeping those storm chances Wednesday and Thursday, but highs both those days in the low 80s. 84, partly cloudy on Friday. Saturday, 87, and Sunday, 88 with mostly clear skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Like it, we're staying in the 80s, partly cloudy, 82 degrees downtown, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A quick check of the markets, a mixed day. The Nasdaq's up, but S&P and the Dow are both down. The Dow down by nearly 300 points. A complete update of your money news coming up next.
Change is always happening. Hey, it's a part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. But no matter how things change, in 5 years, there's one thing that'll stay the same: the price of your internet. Xfinity is introducing the 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report August 2024. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Go to xfinity.com/deals.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, Our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KSL News Time, 12:54. Some popular weight loss drugs may also reduce cancer. ABC's Wayne Cabot has more on the promise of GLP-1 drugs.
Not just for losing weight and battling diabetes, but fighting cancer. Shown over 10 years of research on 80,000 patients.
Yes, this is a medical revolution, but that doesn't mean these drugs are without serious side effects.
Board-certified neurologist Dr. Leah Kroll says the upside.
The risk for endometrial cancer went down by 25%. For ovarian cancer, 47%. And the risk for meningioma, which is a benign brain tumor, went down by 31%.
Researchers make clear the study does not distinguish if the reduced risk is due to the drug or the actual weight loss. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, Meta is signing a $10 billion deal with Google. It means Meta will start using Google Cloud servers, storage, networking, and other services. It will span over the next 6 years. Apple is reportedly planning to launch multiple new products over the next 3 years, including new phones. Bloomberg News reports the company will launch a thinner version of the iPhone we know and love, as well as a foldable model next year. U.S. box office is expected to make $3.75 billion this summer. ComScore reports that's up 2% from the previous summer. Before the pandemic, the standard summer revenue was about $4 billion. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by about 0.75%, down by 280 points, sitting at 45,351. The S&P is down by 12, but the Nasdaq's up by 20. Officials and experts report more shark sightings in cooler waters along the Northeast and New England. ABC's Sophie Flay has more.
The state of Maine did not even track sharks locally until a woman was killed by a great white 5 years ago, only 20 yards from shore. Farther south, sharks are feeding a growing tourism industry on Cape Cod. And they're fueling a tech boom on the beaches of New York as authorities use drones for surveillance. A small shark washing up at a waterfront bar in New Jersey, swept in by flooding from Hurricane Aaron last week.
Experts say the sharks are moving north to feed on seals, which will become more abundant thanks to maritime protection laws.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they were they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
We do have slowdowns that linger. This is all due to construction northbound I-15 in Roy up to the I-84 junction in Riverdale. Salt Lake City PD wrapping up a crash at 1900 West California Avenue. Salt Lake County freeways all clear and looking good. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
60% chance of showers today, the high 89 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A driver in Utah County heading the wrong way on the interstate for miles. The incident captured on camera by other drivers.
So this is happening. That's on the other side of the interstate. Right now.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, August 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, why UHP says that despite this case over the weekend, fatal wrong-way crashes in Utah are actually trending downwards. Also this hour,
we are to the point where we're almost setting a national precedence on drone intrusions in a wildfire.
A record number of drones flying over the Buckley Draw Fire, creating a hazardous environment for crews simply trying to put out the flames. But first, our top stories. Almost 100 dogs and a tortoise were removed from a Salt Lake City home after a neighbor called Animal Services with some concerns. The small Chihuahua mixes are doing okay and are being treated at multiple agencies across the Wasatch Front. Communications and Development Coordinator for Animal Services, Ashley Bates, says it's a good thing that the neighbor called, and if you see something, say something.
Call in and we'll come out and assess really any kind of concern that our community has animal focused. And then from there, our officers can take it.
The owner was reportedly not arrested and cooperated with the removal. Our top national story from ABC News. A U.S. official says plans are already underway to send National Guard troops to Chicago to crack down on crime, homelessness, and illegal immigration. More from ABC's Karen Travers.
D.C. is different. This is a federal district. The president does have more potential authority here to do that surge and have that deployment here in a city like this. But remember, when he sent in National Guard troops to Los Angeles earlier this year without coordinating that with California's Governor Gavin Newsom, that, of course, resulted in lawsuits, and that is still pending right now.
President Trump is also threatening to send troops to other cities like New York and Baltimore. The president has signed an executive order that he says would criminalize flag burning.
If you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, you get, and what it does is incite to riot.
Flag burning was protected under a Supreme Court order by the First Amendment, but the Trump administration has signaled they would like the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit the 1989 ruling. Other national stories KSL is following. Felony charges have been filed against rapper Lil Nas X, known for his country song Old Town Road.
Last week, Lil Nas X, real name Montero Hill, was found by the LAPD nearly naked walking down Ventura Boulevard. He did not comply with police, according to sources, and force had to be used. He's been in jail since. There were questions whether he was on drugs at the time or suffered a mental health issue. He's been charged now with 3 counts of battery with injury on a police officer and 1 count of resisting. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Your money at this moment, the Dow down by nearly 300 points, sitting at 45,338. S&P 500 down by 14, and the NASDAQ, it's up by nearly 17 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
No accidents on the Valley freeways. The only spot of delay that we have is in Weber County. It's all due to road work northbound I-15. Roy up to the I-84 junction in Riverdale. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today, they're on their way. Financing available, save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Unsettled weather for the next few days with a good chance of rain showers. 60% today, 90% tomorrow, 80% on Wednesday, and our high staying in the 80s. Right now, 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
Hey, this is Maria Shilaos, and I am here with Blair. He's also a client of Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure to be here.
So great to see you. So how much weight have you lost?
I've lost an amazing 52 pounds in just 60 days.
That's incredible. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel great. I have more energy, and the GERD and acid reflux is gone.
Talk about the scale for a minute. Were you surprised at how quickly the number went down?
It was astonishing to me as I'd get on the scale, even in the very beginning when I saw, 2-3 pounds drop off. But I ended up looking forward to getting on the scale to see how much I'd lost in the last day.
Tell me about the biggest benefits you've seen from Salt Lake City Fat Loss.
I have much more confidence in myself, lots more energy, much more adventurous walks with my dogs.
Thanks so much for sharing another great success story with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Learn the secret of losing up to 1 pound of unhealthy fat per day online at slcfatloss.com. slcfatloss.com.
Results may vary.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
A renewed discussion today over wrong-way drivers on Utah roads. It comes following an incident in Utah County yesterday where an SUV drove south in the northbound lanes of I-15 near Springville. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. As other drivers swerved out of the way, a Utah Highway Patrol trooper crashed into the back of the SUV to stop it down near Payson.
As we conducted our investigation, we did not find any signs of impairment, just found that the driver was a little confused and really didn't know that they were traveling wrong way.
UHP Lieutenant Cam Roden says there were only minor injuries from that crash. He tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that despite several stories this year about wrong-way drivers, there are actually fewer fatal crashes involving people heading the wrong way.
We are down a little bit when it comes to wrong-way vehicle crashes. This is something that we've been, really focusing on for the last several years because we have had such a rash of them in the years prior to this that, we've been watching it pretty closely to make sure to see what the contributors are. And for the most part, most of these are impaired drivers, but we do get a few like this one that it may be a confused driver or somebody that just doesn't know where they are. So, but it is good to see that we are down a little bit. We are down with wrong way driving fatalities. So that's a good trend for us.
Lieutenant Roden says UHP's awareness campaign has really helped bring those crashes down.
A lot of that has to do with awareness. We've been really sharing that message, helping individuals know that this is an issue and what the contributors are, such as impaired driving or other things. And the more that people know that this is an issue, the more they can change behavioral things that contribute to it.
He says even with the better numbers this year and an overall trend that's looking good too, UHP isn't slowing down their efforts to prevent wrong-way driving on Utah's roads.
It's a combined effort. Law enforcement will go out there and do the piece, like you've said. We mentioned we go out there, we do enforcement, we do DUI blitzes, saturation patrols, trying to get impaired drivers off the road. And we've really focused on that throughout the year, especially around times where we know there's going to be a lot of them out there. And so that'll, coupled with people making the right choice right from the beginning, making sure they have that sober ride home. Together, those two things really have helped us to see a difference in wrong-way driving.
Lieutenant Cam Roden, Public Information Officer with the Utah Highway Patrol. In other news, a growing number of drones flying over recent Utah wildfires is causing great concern for firefighters. The number of drones interfering at the Buckley Draw fire in Provo in the last week has heightened their concerns. Sierra Hellstrom with the Northern Utah Type 3 Incident Management Team tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson as of Friday, they had seen 7, but over the weekend, that number grew to over 20.
The most I've ever seen on a fire in my experience has been 2. We are to the point where we're almost setting a national precedence on drone intrusions in a wildfire. Those drones not only could cause harm to the aircraft because of mid-air collisions, but it also distracts the pilots. And where they're flying in dangerous, rocky, steep terrain, any type of distraction where they may have to look away and do avoidance tactics for a drone itself causes an issue of them in the areas that they're flying. On top of that, they are supporting firefighters on the ground. They help cool fire areas and keep fire behavior minimized. So if there are drones in the air, we do ground aircraft for upwards of 30 minutes to an hour, depending on when the drone was last seen, our confidence that the drone is no longer in the airspace. And what that does is really leaves the firefighters on the mountain exposed. If something were to happen, if they were having an increase of fire behavior, that they needed aerial support. If we needed to medevac someone out, they would not be able to get air support that they needed if our aircraft is grounded. So there's a myriad of dangers that it creates for both our firefighters in the air and on the ground.
She says the airspace over a fire is always restricted, and they are actively trying to locate the drone users who are entering that airspace illegally.
We don't know if it's a consistent person or if it's different people every time. We are doing everything we can to track them down. We have a drone detection device that just became available that we have now brought on scene. And we've got law enforcement monitoring that with our aviation folks that we can hopefully catch these people. It's hard to say what they're using it for, whether it's private citizens just wanting to get a better view, whether it's a social media influencer wanting to get follows, whether it's someone doing it intentionally to slow fire suppression efforts. It's hard to speculate, and I don't ever want to speculate or put reasons behind someone's why they're doing what they're doing, but our main focus is to end it.
Hellstrom says when caught, the drone operators could face felony charges. In the line of duty, our special coverage of the deadly police shooting in Tremont continues here on KSL News Radio. This week, the officers will be laid to rest. Tremont and Garland Police Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada died while responding to a domestic violence situation just over 1 week ago. On Wednesday this week, a viewing will be held for both officers at the Bear River High School from 3 to 7. Then on Thursday, a funeral will be held for Officer Estrada at 10 in the morning. On Friday, another funeral will be held for Sergeant Sorensen, also at 10. Both funerals will be held at the Utah State University Spectrum in Logan. In the Box Elder School District, students will get Thursday and Friday off to attend the funerals. Today, the district sent out a statement saying that they recognize the importance of allowing families to attend the funerals. District officials say they knew a lot of people would be absent those days to attend the funerals anyway, and that they believe that those 2 days should be set aside for the community to come together and mourn. On Wednesday, schools will be on an early out schedule, and the closure on Thursday and Friday applies to all schools in the district as well as the district offices. As the families prepare to lay their loved ones to rest, people around Box Elder County continue to come together to support one another. 2 teens at the high school wanted to do what they could to help, so they held their own fundraiser for the families.
We had our football coach talk to us separately about it.
In a tight-knit community like Box Elder County,
It is an old school country vibe.
the loss of 2 police officers
And a lot of people I know of them or know their families.
hits hard.
There's no words.
When words don't feel like enough, Sherry Kimber's teenage sons took action.
First thing Kaden said was, Mom, we're doing a lemonade stand.
We held it here on the other side of the high school. $1 per lemonade. We accepted all donations.
All day Saturday, Kaden and Carson Kimber filled up cups for Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada's families.
We had many big donations that was really cool.
It's not their first time doing this.
Doing this with the boys hits home. Because my dad's law enforcement, 27 years, he's now retired, but that doesn't go away.
The Kimbers have hosted multiple lemonade stands, all for officers killed in the line of duty.
When someone gets hurt like that, it really hurts a lot more people than just their families.
Sherry Kimber says her boys and their friends handled the stand on their own.
Our lemonade stand was like the epicenter of a lot of people to be able to help that didn't know how.
It was a huge success.
Years past, the best we could get was 1,000. And we just beat that.
They raised $1,457. They'll donate it to the fallen officers' families. As the Kimbers begin a new school year, they're focused on the most important lesson they've ever learned.
We always tell our boys, look for the helpers. You're going to see the good come out of such evil.
KSL 5 TV's Shelby Lofton there will have special coverage of the funerals this week, and we will carry them live in full both days. That's Thursday and Friday this week, beginning at 10 a.m. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part 1 in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
ICE officials have once again taken Kilmar Abrego Garcia into custody. Now they are threatening deportation to Africa. You'll recall that he's not from Africa, he's from El Salvador. The rearrest comes 2 days after he was released from jail in Tennessee, where he was awaiting a trial on human smuggling charges. ABC's Christiane Cordero reports from Washington.
This case has become a flashpoint in the debate over President Trump's illegal immigration crackdown. Just days after Abrego Garcia was released from custody, he's set to be detained again. Over the weekend, he was reunited with his family in Maryland, but his journey is far from over. Just minutes after Abrego Garcia's release on Friday, immigration authorities notified him they intend to deport him to Uganda.
In June, Attorney General Pam Bondi outlined the new human smuggling charges against Abrego Garcia.
The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job, not a contractor. He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. He made over 100 trips, the grand jury found, smuggling people throughout our country. MS-13 members, violent gang terrorist organization members throughout our country.
This morning, ahead of Abrego Garcia's meeting with ICE, chants from protesters and supporters at a rally in Baltimore. Abrego Garcia's attorney, Simon Sandoval Moschenberg, says little to no information was shared about where ICE was taking him now, but that the ultimate destination may be Uganda. Sandoval Moschenberg also telling the crowd of Garcia supporters that they are filing a lawsuit to block any deportation.
They do not have the right to put him on an airplane, and that's what we're going to be asking the district court to ensure, that he is not put on any flight to any country whatsoever, whether it's Uganda, South Sudan, what have you, unless and until he has had a full and fair trial in an immigration court as well as his full appeal rights. There was no need for them to take him into ICE detention. He was already on electronic monitoring from the U.S. Marshal Service and basically on house arrest. The only reason that they've chosen to take him into detention is to punish him.
Abrego Garcia spoke this morning before meeting with ICE officials. Through a translator, he said memories of being with his family give him comfort.
Esos momentos me darán fuerzas y esperanza para seguir luchando.
Those moments will continue to give me hope to continue in this fight.
He also said the Trump administration is ruining families.
To all the families who have been separated, or to all the families who have been threatened with family separation, this administration has hit us hard. I want to thank each and every one of you who marched, lift your voices, never stopped praying, and continued to fight in my name.
Abrego Garcia declined a plea deal with the federal government that would have deported him to Costa Rica. Earlier this year, he was wrongly deported to El Salvador before returning on court order. A new executive order aims to crack down on burning the American flag. We'll break that down and what the law actually says with our legal analyst next. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
Crash-free on the Valley freeways, but slow speeds northbound I-15, Roy up to I-84 due to road work. Get a free ticket to Sharing Aloha through August with every Cinemark purchase of 2+ tickets. Use code ALOHA, all capital letters, at checkout. Limited number available. SharingAlohaTheMovie.com. Ricky Neese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. KS on the Classroom. Back to school season is in full swing. Hundreds of thousands of Utah kids now back in the classroom ready to learn. But in several districts around the state, roughly a quarter of students are chronically absent. This can seriously hamper a child's ability to learn, develop, and grow, so it's prompted the state to implement a new campaign aimed at keeping students in class. KSL 5 TV's Deanie Wimmer dug into the numbers and what teachers are doing to help kids coming back to school day after day.
Hola! Hola, John! These team teachers in dual immersion Spanish are preparing for school by visiting every one of their students at home.
I'm Mrs. Nelson.
It's part of Box Elder School District's efforts to encourage better attendance.
Going to 51 families for home visits sounds like a big effort.
It is.
It actually is.
Trying to schedule it and plan it, but we feel that it's that important to go and meet with our incoming students and their parents.
What do you hope to accomplish?
Good communication with parents, that is our first thing. We need to be very close to them in order to help their students. We are a team, together and with parents.
And how do you hope this will translate into school attendance?
So something that we love about home visits is that we get to go meet the parents beforehand, and for the students to see the parents' involvement in their education, and we feel like it translates immensely to their success at school.
Have attitudes about attendance changed in recent years?
I think so. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for sure things have changed with attendance. I think parents maybe don't understand all that is being missed. Even when it's for a vacation or a mental health day, sometimes it really is detrimental.
They cannot see how important the structure, the discipline. Some of them cannot see this. It's not just coming to school to be with their friends. Mm-hmm. It's everything that we do every day, that they do at home before coming to school. That discipline, that structure, that scheduling, everything is very important for raise kids, successful kids.
Would you say it's gotten more lax in recent years?
I think so.
Yes, me too.
Especially, I think, post-COVID. Yeah. I think a lot of families have gotten into maybe bad habits that they don't recognize that they're in, and that students need to be here every day. It's a constant communication. I think where we are doing the home visits before school starts, we're already building that friendship and trust between parents, that they know that we care about their student. And so it makes it a lot easier transition into talking to the parents about our want and desire to have them at school.
And we open a channel with them. We offer them some apps for being in communication with us, our mails and everything, that so they have the way to reach us.
While those teachers make home visits, another school in Box Elder County is trying a different tactic. They hosted a Popsicles and Principals event.
What's your name?
Hazel.
Here
Hazel, what
again,
grade are
the
you
goal
into?
is to get acquainted with students and their parents outside of school.
Dude, you are a tall first grader, bro. And we want to get more parents into our school as much as possible, and sometimes you just have to go out and find them. We try and make school fun. We really build up that culture and climate so that it makes it really hard to miss. We want to get to the point where I don't want to miss school because this is going on, and so going back to absenteeism, there is a direct correlation to performance based off of missed days.
That's why the Utah State Board of Education has launched an Every Day Counts attendance campaign. In addition to home visits and fun popsicle parties, schools will be more closely tracking attendance and in some cases adopting new policies and interventions.
We have a system where we keep track of students, and so when we start noticing, like you mentioned, those chronic absences or repeated unexcused absences, we like to reach out to families, and it's in a friendly way. We stress the importance of education. We miss them, we want them here.
They're working with schools and families all over Utah to send the message kids need to be in school.
You have to be present to get the full experience of education. It is important that we make every day count because, this is our future, what we have with our children. It's their future at hand too, and we want to make sure we're building strong citizens in our communities and throughout our state.
All of these efforts are part of the state's campaign called Every Day Counts. The new state superintendent, Dr. Molly Hart, says this initiative is all about working alongside families to remove barriers to attendance. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Health Matters on Midday. We are checking in on the state of teen mental health in Utah and the new resources available to help teens in crisis. KSL in the classroom, what teachers are doing to get students to show up to class, and KSL traffic. Ricky?
Salt Lake County freeways are crash-free, but slowing continues due to roadwork northbound I-15 starting in Roy. Maria?
We're enjoying cooler weather and a good chance of showers for the first part of this week. We'll check our local stories in 1 minute. First, let's check in with ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is back in federal immigration custody just days after being released from a detention facility in Tennessee as he awaits his human smuggling trial.
Abrego Garcia was ordered Monday to report to immigration agents in Baltimore. Outside those offices, supporters gathered, Garcia through a translator.
I want to thank each and every one of you who marched, lift your voices, never stop praying, and continued to fight in my name.
His attorney says they're suing the government
to ensure that he is not put on any flight to any country whatsoever.
Garcia denies allegations by Homeland Security that he's a gang member, human trafficker, and more.
ABC's Chuck Sievertson. Authorities in Arizona, Iowa, and Arkansas reporting incidents at universities today involving what federal law enforcement referred to as swatting or making false claims that there's an active shooter on campus. Dangerous heat alerts stretching across parts of the West with fire crews battling wildfires in California. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story, almost 100 dogs were rescued after Salt Lake County Animal Services found them all to be living in the same house. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Animal Services was called to a home in the Lower Avenues this weekend after a neighbor called with a concern. There, they found nearly 100 dogs. Communications and Development Coordinator for Animal Services, Ashley Bales, says the house was overrun.
We brought in 97 Chihuahua type animals and one tortoise.
Bales says luckily volunteers, foster families, and other agencies stepped in to help. The Humane Society of Utah picked up 27 of those dogs brought in, along with 9 others who were already at the shelter. The owner of the home was reportedly not arrested and is cooperating with officers. Bales says a majority of the dogs are doing okay, and they should be ready for adoption in the next few weeks. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The state has already spent $29 million on wildfires this year. Most of that will likely be covered by federal grants. Much of the land burned by fires in the state have been on federal land, making it possible for the state to receive some pretty large grants. Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands Director Jamie Barnes says that she says this brings the cost down significantly.
We estimated the cost will be about $9 million for those wildfires.
During an interim committee meeting last week, she also pointed out 70% of those fires have been human-caused, when in the past the number had been closer to 50%. A paraglider has been taken to the hospital this morning after crashing at Mount Timpanogos. Utah County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team was called in to assist just before 9 this morning. He was hoisted out and taken to a nearby hospital via life flight for a possible broken leg. Other local stories KSL is following this hour. Gen Z has come up with a new term for disengaging from work called quiet cracking on TikTok. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
Basically, quiet cracking is the same thing as quiet quitting. That's from a labor and employment attorney who spoke on Inside Sources. She says quiet cracking more closely describes the emotions employees are feeling, and it can lead to other workers picking up on the dissatisfied vibes.
Sylvester says companies are losing more than $400 billion a year from employees who check out of their jobs. So it's important to mentor workers and give them more training if needed. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by more than 300 points, sitting at 45,312. S&P 500 down by 17. The NASDAQ, though, up by 9 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
We do have a couple of crashes that have occurred in just the last couple of minutes. One of them in the Holiday Cottonwood Heights area, southbound I-215's East Belt near Knutson's Corner. So that's about 6200 south. It's out of traffic on the shoulder. But an accident northbound I-15 leaving downtown prior to 6 North. The vehicles involved are on the right shoulders, but emergency crews had been blocking a right lane, again, northbound I-15 prior to 6 North. Try UTA and get more done while you ride. Games, work, books, shows. You'll be too busy to notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A good chance of showers for the first half of the week. 60% chance today, 90% chance tomorrow. Today's high 89 and right now 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
We're giving away a chance to win a free air conditioner to anyone who's commented on our YouTube videos. So go to Healthy Water and Air and comment today. Some restrictions apply, so see YouTuber at yourservicepros.us for details.
Making an Impact, sponsored by Granger. Artist Rashid Johnson uses different mediums to examine race, identity, and masculinity. He hopes his work can bring joy to others.
I'll tell you what I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. The first thing that I learned to love outside of my family was art.
For the ones who get it done, Granger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by.
Get a bottle of Seafoam Motor Treatment for just $8.99 and receive 5 times O Rewards points with the purchase at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Is it me or is it musty?
Oh, damp. Check the bathroom.
Damp! Wait!
Yeah?
I'm ordering Damp Rid!
Get rid of the damp by trapping excess moisture with Damp Rid.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Health Matters on Midday. Time for an in-depth look at one of the most pressing medical stories right now, mental health. A new study out of Oregon shows that around 1 in 10 teenagers enrolled in Medicaid spent several days stuck in the emergency room after being admitted for a mental health crisis. Dr. Richard Ferguson, president of the Black Physicians of Utah, joined me to talk about whether that's what we're seeing here in Utah as well. And he tells me kids often need to be hospitalized for 3 to 5 days due to depression or suicidal thoughts, and many times that process is initiated in the emergency room.
I've seen these lengthy stays more so in rural areas, but it definitely can happen in major cities as well, just because capacity hasn't kept up with the need.
When you talk about capacity, are you talking about just providers that are outside of the emergency room? What exactly is happening?
There's kind of a couple reasons. Part of it is there's a workforce kind of bottleneck. Decades ago, a long shortage of child and adolescent psychiatrists and mental health clinicians, there's limits where these units can safely operate. So the staffing ratios, for example, I know that a child is more likely to be admitted and get out and have a shorter ED stay if they actually present between Monday through Friday before 9 o'clock in the evening. If they come on the weekend, many hospitals, particularly ERs, don't have additional clinical social worker coverage to come in and do the additional evaluation work and calls to surrounding pediatric mental health institutions to get them inpatient level care, or even residential treatment outpatient, sort of that bridging between someone having to go fully inpatient. They can do something where they can kind of stay at home, but then go to a day program that can assist them as they try to heal from their behavioral health disorder or try to seek treatment. But yeah, sometimes it's just as simple as we don't have someone that'll come in, and so that can come in and do the evaluation. So that's an increased burden on the ER doc, the nurses, when we're still trying to take in further patients, and we're trying to, and so sometimes they don't get optimal care. They have to wait for someone to come through and do the proper evaluation for them to get admitted. Now, mind you, the ER staff is capable of doing this, but when you have 2 or 3 patients at one time, you're having to have someone, especially if they were suicidal, you need now someone to watch the patient. So now it's a one-to-one. Sometimes it's a nurse. So that nurse is now pulled away from providing care to other patients because it's a weekend and they need someone to watch the child in the room. And often that cannot be left to a family member, because often a family member is sometimes part of the cause or the trigger that led to, say, a suicidal attempt or worsening depression. So there definitely is an increased burden that can occur, and some of it is just workforce availability after hours and on weekends. But also, it's just many of our states just don't have sufficient facilities. Often when I'm working in the emergency room in northern Minnesota, there often isn't a facility near within, say, 50 to 100 miles of a hospital that I'm in or the ER that I'm working from. And so I actually have to call other states. So I have to call South Dakota, North Dakota, just to be able to get a child admitted. And so that takes time. And there's often protocols where many facilities say you try these first ones, you kind of go, this is the closest, then you go farther out, then you go farther out, and you're waiting for evaluations and seeing about bed availability. And there's sometimes a wait list on top of that for these facilities. So it's compounding factors, but often it really comes down to their pediatric capacity has shrank alongside adult beds as well for mental health access ever since the 50s.
I guess the good news for parents is that they can turn to the emergency room. We don't want to discourage people if they have an emergency, definitely to go to the emergency room. But it does raise a whole variety of concerns and societal concerns, too. I mean, that's not the best place to get mental health treatment.
No. And often, many times, the acute issue of suicidality will have resolved within a few hours of them being there, sometimes especially if a substance was involved that led to the suicidal thinking, and if someone is able to have a good social support structure that is available to them right outside of the ER, where it's like, hey, you have reliable parents, now that you're aware of this, you might not have been aware, now there's increased sort of attention and fixation on helping the child, and they don't necessarily need to sit in our room for 2, 3, 4 days. But yes, I definitely would encourage, do not try to keep a child at home if they're showing signs of worsening depression or suicidality. Definitely still seek ED care. Sorry.
No. What are some key things maybe that we can learn or parents can maybe see to maybe prevent having to end up in an emergency room? Are there some key things they could be watching for so that a situation doesn't escalate to that point?
That's like saying, I cannot predict if someone's going to attempt to take their life. There are some warning signs, I could say, but it really depends on the age group. And I can go through just a little bit of that. So let's say, for example, Back to School Mental Health was an event that our Mental Wellness Alliance, our mental health arm to address mental health equity in the state for Black and marginalized groups. And that happened just on August 16th. And this was one of our topics, is how to be aware of emotional and physical signs of worsening depression or anxiety that can lead to suicidality. So one of the first things is a child becoming more withdrawn. I can see this sometimes more in female students or younger adolescents, younger female adolescents will become a little bit more withdrawn from social media, their friends. And then when I've seen in males, when they're presenting with worsening depression, they will actually have increased anger. And as some people would say, even as young as 8, 9 years old, you may see them breaking more things, yelling, getting into fights unnecessarily. This is often an underlying sign of untreated depression for a particular child. And then it takes a way to ask these questions, often with the assistance of a school counselor or a teacher or someone else that is able to be kind of that liaison between school, because there may be bullying going on at school. There may be bullying that's occurring online that's affecting this child's mood. So I think someone does not need to sort of have a hawk eye on their child at all times, but being more withdrawn from social media, not wanting to socialize with others, is often some early signs that depression is worsening. And then, of course, if you're seeing something such as self-mutilation, where there's cutting, or your child's starting to wear long sleeve shirts or long pants in the middle of the summer, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, and no longer wanting to go to the pool because they're getting some relief with cutting, that can also be an early sign of suicidality.
Yeah, it's not simple, though. Oftentimes these things will come out of the blue for parents, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's sometimes I think a lot of it comes with building the relationship with the coaches, that maybe if your child's in a sport, or particular teachers, to understand I notice their grades are going down. Is there something else that I'm not aware of?
Dr. Ferguson says this will continue to be an issue nationwide until more resources are devoted to mental health treatment for both children and adults. Several medical providers in the state are working to provide more behavioral health services for children. Primary Children's Hospital opening a new facility in Taylorsville on September 6th. President Amanda Chaudhry tells KSL5 TV's Emma Benson the center will serve families regardless of their ability to pay.
And we'll be here to serve kids ages 5 through 18 with any of their behavioral, developmental, or emotional needs. Here at this facility, we offer inpatient services, outpatient clinic, partial hospitalization services, and group therapy. We'll also offer, with this new building opening, a new walk-in crisis center for kids that's always open 24/7.
She says doctors and administrators are well aware of the need faced by families in the state.
Utah, like the rest of the country, is experiencing a youth mental health crisis. And today is about showing up for kids in our communities to say, we hear you. We're here to take care of your mental health needs. We know that in Utah, almost 40% of teenagers share that they experience thoughts of sadness and depression, and we're here to help.
Chaudhry says the crisis unit will take pressure off of local emergency rooms and provide a different level of care focused on those under 18 years old.
We're really excited to offer the new walk-in crisis center as an alternative to the local emergency department as a family's only option during a crisis. The new crisis center will be a calmer, more quiet and soothing access point for crisis care, a lower cost alternative that's always open and designed for kids, specifically with pediatric trained crisis workers.
She says it was also designed with families in mind and is on the cutting edge of behavioral health treatment for kids. 12-year-old Ren has struggled with anger and stress, but she says the doctors at Primary Children's have helped a lot.
I was nervous at first, but it got easier and easier. And the more I met with all those people, it got better and better for me.
Ren says her doctor not only talks to her and talks her through her feelings, but also plays games to help her with her emotions.
She just really listens to me, and she gets what I'm feeling and really helps with what I'm feeling. I feel angry and I can be sad or stressed, and it really helps to talk to her.
Wren was at the grand opening of the new behavioral health center and knows it will help a lot more children like her. She also encourages others to get help if they're struggling.
I want them to know if they worry, they're not the only one. Everyone worries, and it's okay if you worry.
The new primary children's facility in Taylorsville will begin serving the public on September 6th. A new executive order aims to crack down on burning the American flag. We'll break down that order and what the law actually says with our legal analyst next. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
The accident southbound I-215's East Belt at Knutson's Corner, about 6200 South, has pretty much been cleared. Only one officer remains there. He'll be pulling away at any moment. But we still have the crash northbound I-15 prior to 6 North. All lanes are open. All the vehicles involved in the accident are over to the shoulder. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Join KSL in the movie show this Friday, noon to 3 at the Layton NPS store at 1150 North Main Street in Layton, npsstore.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, and it's sponsored by At Your Service Pros. Today, President Donald Trump issued an executive order addressing American flag desecration, namely burning of the flag. The president saying the American flag is the most sacred and cherished symbol of the United States and represents American freedom, identity, and strength.
But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy.
But there are plenty of legal questions about burning the flag, so we wanted to bring on KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas, for some guidance. And Greg, the president's executive order directs the attorney general to prosecute those who are involved in desecration of the flag. He also says he hopes to pursue litigation that would clarify the scope of the First Amendment as it relates to the American flag. Okay, didn't the Supreme Court already decide this issue a long time ago?
Yes, they did. And he can't create a crime by an executive order. Congress can enact crimes and decide what is and what isn't a crime. But you're right. Desecration of the flag or burning the flag or doing what you feel is appropriate is a form of speech. It's a form of it's an expression. And while a lot of us might find it offensive, it's not criminal, and it probably is never going to be criminalized.
He says in that order that burning the flag may incite violence and riot. By that definition, wouldn't burning the flag not fall under the First Amendment protections?
Yes. So if you're doing something to incite a riot or something, I mean, that could be prosecuted independently. But simply doing something as a form of speech all by itself is not a crime. So that's a good point you make, Maria, and that is that, you know, if you're trying to incite a riot, you're trying to elevate a crowd, you're trying to cause a problem, and you do so, you could be prosecuted for that. But if you're burning a flag as a form of speech, as a form of protest, that's protected speech.
So, Greg, at what point do executive orders not mean anything? I mean, if the Supreme Court has already ruled on this and the president's executive order can't overrule it, so why the issue then?
Well, Trump continues to do executive orders based on what he's calling emergency reasons. I mean, they took over the District of Columbia last week. And the president has great latitude in times of war and in times of national emergency. And that's the reason that he's using for a lot of these executive orders. And the court's going to give him some deference for that. So whether they will in this case remains to be seen. I sort of doubt it. But if he's saying we're at a point in our country where we need these kind of things in place because we're on the brink of riots, then he may be able to impose certain things. I just don't think that that's what's happening here.
Yeah, I can't think of a time in recent history that we've heard of some major flag burning incident. Can you?
No, you can't, or that causes some sort of a riot. I mean, I could see people, especially patriots, especially veterans, being upset at that, but causing a riot or causing some sort of a broader skirmish is unlikely.
So if we maybe look at it on a broader scale, do you think the goal is to bring everything that's ever been decided by the Supreme Court back to the current Supreme Court in hopes that the law will change?
Well, I think that's something he may try to do because he's certainly got a Supreme Court that is very favorable to him by a 6-3 majority. And so the more issues he can revisit with the current Supreme Court, the more likely he is to get some of their prior rulings set aside. You mentioned Roe versus Wade. There are certainly others, the Chevron doctrine and things like that. Every term, they come back and say, oops, we made a mistake 20, 30, 40 years ago. We're going to change that. So he may very well be hoping that this is another example.
Right. Any other takeaways from what's happened today?
Well, only that it seems sort of knee-jerk. I don't know that it's going to get very far, and I don't see Congress having the appetite to make it a law. And I, frankly, even though we've been talking about the Supreme Court, I'm just not sure they're going to take that giant of a step.
Okay. Thanks, Greg, for being with me. Greg Skordas is KSL's legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, which airs each morning at 9 right here on KSL News Radio. Texas Governor Greg Abbott could sign into law a new congressional districting map today. These maps have the potential to add 5 Republican seats in the U.S. Congress. But News Nation's Xavier Walton reports that the governor is expecting a court battle.
Governor Greg Abbott promising to swiftly sign the new maps into law after state Republicans approved a redraw Saturday after midnight. That could net the GOP 5 seats in next year's midterms. But Democrats and civil rights groups aren't taking this laying down the minute it passed. They filed lawsuits arguing the move packs and cracks minority communities, undercutting Latino and black voters who drove most of the state's population growth. The complaint says, the map violates both the Constitution and the Voting Rights Act. Texas just the first red state in President Trump's redistricting push to successfully redraw its maps, but other states are certainly being called into the fray. And Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says if Republicans continue this mid-decade gerrymandering, his party has a plan to mobilize in more blue states. Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul said, out of New York, said it's game on, though it won't be as simple a process there. And Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, governor there, said, redrawing maps definitely on the table, though his state already heavily favors Dems. All this is President Trump presses Indiana, Missouri, and others for more GOP seats. Hakeem Jeffries says he isn't convinced Republicans' redistricting success equals GOP control of the House in the 2026 midterms. That's what this is all about, pointing to Democrats flipping more than 40 seats during the first Trump presidency. But hey, you know what? Legal experts say this fight could go all the way to the Supreme Court and even reshape how the Voting Rights Act is interpreted altogether.
California's governor is pushing new maps that could potentially create 5 new Democratic seats in his state. In the next hour of Midday, we'll get the latest on a massive dog hoarding situation here in Salt Lake City. Stay with us.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit rain.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by Rain and this station.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A taste of fall blowing into the Wasatch Front, falling rain, and lowering temps in the forecast.
Got another round of thunderstorms scattered in nature, most likely in the afternoon and evening, hoping for another quarter-inch plus along the Wasatch Front.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, August 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll check the forecast for the next few days, plus a look at how the long-range forecast for fall is shaping up. Also this hour,
we brought in 97 Chihuahua type animals and 1 tortoise.
Nearly 100 dogs rescued from a hoarding situation in Salt Lake City. We'll get an update on the animals' condition and how local organizations are stepping in to help. But first, our top stories. The Box Elder School District is closing all their schools on Thursday and Friday to give students and staff the option to attend the funerals for the 2 officers killed in Tremont last week. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
The school district says they know a lot of people would have been absent on Thursday and Friday if school were in session. So instead, they're canceling school those days, saying it should be a time set aside for the community to come together. They're also encouraging students and staff to use those days to honor, reflect, and connect with those around you.
The district schools will be on an early out schedule on Wednesday ahead of the officers' viewing at Bear River High School that afternoon. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Thousands of school children are headed back to school today in Washington, D.C., right as thousands of National Guard troops are given the go-ahead to carry weapons around the city. President Trump says he's looking into deploying the military in other U.S. cities like Chicago. But officials there say there is no crime emergency that would warrant a government takeover of the police force. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker in Chicago told reporters local officials are doing their jobs.
I just walked on the lakefront this morning and walked to dinner last night with my wife. Yes, like other major cities across the United States, there is crime. But indeed, it is dropping precipitously in the city of Chicago, and it's in part because of the work that we're doing at the local level.
President Trump has also talked about sending troops to places like Baltimore. The president has signed an executive order that aims to end cashless bail in the nation's capital in what the White House says is an effort to reduce crime. More from ABC's Karen Travers.
The president saying that people will be more likely now to be held in federal jail, and they will look at people who have committed local crimes or are going to be charged with local crimes and hold them in federal jail or charge them with federal crimes, because that does not have cashless bail. So they're essentially trying to set up a different tier of a system for people committing crimes in D.C. because that cashless bail applies to D.C. Superior Court, but not federal jail.
The NAACP and other groups say ending the practice will mean lower income defendants will be negatively impacted. Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow down by nearly 350 points, 0.75%, sitting at 45,282. S&P down by 28 points, and the NASDAQ turning into negative territory at the close too, down by 47 points. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Looks like we have a new problem, a crash, and this is northbound I-15. It's after 33rd South, but prior to 2100 South. It is causing some slowdowns with at least one vehicle blocking a right lane. And then we still have the cleanup of the accident northbound I-15 prior to 6 North on the shoulder. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecast calls for the temperatures, high temperatures to stay in the 80s for the entire week, and a good chance of showers the first half of the week. 60% today, 90% tomorrow. 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We have some changes in the forecast, some of the first hints of fall, perhaps.
Let the rain fall down and wake my dreams. Let it wash away my sanity. 'Cause I wanna feel.
All right, that's right, rain. Some areas of the state have been hit pretty hard already. In fact, there was some flooding in places like Nephi Canyon yesterday, but there is more rain in the forecast. And joining me live in studio is KSL meteorologist Evan Mashuli. First, let's talk about what happened at 11:30 last night that woke me up. Oh my gosh, a thunderstorm moved through.
I know. I'm glad that we finally. I mean, what were you in the southern half of the valley?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
yeah. The
yes.
southern half of the valley has been more lucky, especially the further south you go into Utah County. Of course, Juab County is where we saw some of that flooding last night. Northern parts of the Salt Lake Valley into northern valleys, like along the Wasatch Run, have not been as lucky,
No.
obviously, over the weekend. But areas like you mentioned, Nephi, Mona, Tooele saw over half an inch of rain. Riverton also saw over half an inch. Eagle Mountain, close to 0.8 of an inch of rain. And our mountains, really from Mount Temp all through the Uintas down south, have seen anywhere between a quarter to an inch, but really north of I-80 has not been as lucky.
Oh, wow. Like downtown, probably
Yes,
no
here
rain
in
downtown,
KSL,
right?
yeah, we haven't
So
got much.
Are these areas going to get some rain over the next few days?
Yes, I'm optimistic that today we'll begin to see the chance for some scattered showers to impact the northern parts of the Salt Lake Valley. So we haven't seen that over the weekend. So hopefully we can get some rain over the next couple of hours into at least Davis County. And then it looks like we'll see better chances Tuesday and Wednesday. So mostly throughout the day tomorrow, we'll see scattered showers and storms across northern Utah in areas that they haven't been. And then it looks like it'll fill in tomorrow evening, say around 8 p.m. We could see more widespread showers. If you're driving home late, you can come across some rain. And that looks like it could stick around through Wednesday morning. So hopefully that's where we can pick up the most of our rain for areas that haven't seen it across northern Utah.
Our water bills have been terrible, so I'm happy to have the
know.
rain. Okay, while we're getting more humid, the West Coast is on fire, literally in some places, like a lot of dryness, hotter than average temps. Talk about how that works.
Well, we have the same influence over our weather here in the Four Corners. It's the phrase that you've probably heard, the heat dome. So we have it over the Four Corners, and that allowed our temperatures to get pretty hot. I mean, we were in the upper 90s on Saturday. So when you have that high pressure system overhead, it kind of cooks the same air mass. And then if you think of a high pressure system, the flow around it is like clockwise. So if it's over the Four Corners, there's just direct southerly flow right into Southern California, and that just continues to build in the heat in that area. And it's just naturally also a desert in some of those valleys, so they continue to get hot, and we are just trying to get some moisture under the high here. So the moisture isn't necessarily reaching that far west, considering we haven't even felt it as far north in Utah. So basically the same air is just getting heated under this heat dome, and they haven't really been able to get some of that moisture to cool them down either.
Okay, but the change does have us kind of thinking about fall a little bit.
I know.
I mean, leaves are changing already up in the mountains. So what can you tell us about the long-range forecast?
So it looks like for the Four Corners, for the fall outlook, we're favored, surprise, to be warmer than normal. It says there's about a 50 to 70% chance that Utah will end the season with above normal temperatures. Now, it doesn't always mean it's going to be very warm. It just means that whatever the average is, we'll likely end it above it. And that goes for the entire state. In terms of precipitation, we're favored to be between 33 to 50% drier than normal. It looks like as we head into the end of the year, the jet stream will just be to our north. So hopefully we can get some storm systems to come in through northern Utah. It just may not come as far south. So the further south you go, the higher your chances are of being drier than normal, which is unfortunately what we saw last year.
Yeah. I mean, I love the fall, but I would often complain. Last two falls have been different, but I would complain, hey, it just goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're going to get a little more fall that we can enjoy.
I hope so, yes. Hopefully a gradual cool down, whereas last year it was like, oh, hot, 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 and then just woof, straight to cold. So hopefully we can kind of get the normal progression of temperatures as they should go for fall.
We'd like it to be a little bit more gradual.
Yes.
Our bodies would for sure. Devin,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
No problem.
KSL meteorologist Devin Mashuli live in studio. And don't forget that you can download the free KSL weather app so you too can stay up to date on all the latest weather changes. Stay with us. We'll be back with Midday in just 60 seconds.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Lowe's has the Labor Day deals you need to give your home a new look. Buy one, get one free select interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Then, add the final touch with 2 for $8 on select 2.5 or 3-quart mums. Refresh your home and save big while doing it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 9/3. Mums offer in-store only. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowes.com/rebates for details.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Nearly 100 dogs rescued this weekend after Salt Lake County Animal Services found them all to be living in the same house. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Animal Services was called to a home in the Lower Avenues this weekend after a neighbor called with a concern. There, they found nearly 100 dogs. Communications and Development Coordinator for Animal Services, Ashley Bales, says the house was overrun.
We brought in 97 Chihuahua type animals and 1 tortoise.
Bales says luckily volunteers, foster families, and other agencies stepped in to help. The Humane Society of Utah picked up 27 of those dogs brought in, along with 9 others who were already at the shelter. The owner of the home was reportedly not arrested and is cooperating with officers. Bales says a majority of the dogs are doing okay, and they should be ready for adoption in the next few weeks. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Earlier on Midday, I spoke with the Utah Humane Society's Julie Ulvestad to find out more about this situation and what they're doing to help in this case.
Some neighbors had been noticing something off about the house for quite some time, and over the weekend, the Salt Lake City Police Department responded. They immediately called in Salt Lake County Animal Services, who took the animals. My understanding was about 97 dogs came in on Saturday. We got a call from our friends over at Salt Lake County asking for some support because they had their kennels were completely full already, and they didn't have enough space to be able to house these dogs. So we're happy to have those kinds of partnerships to take the dogs. They are small breed dogs. They all appear to be interbred Chihuahuas, Shih Tzus, some Scruffy Terrier types. They're in good condition now, but you can see that they have been in some filthy conditions prior to now.
So how many of these little animals do you have?
We took 36 dogs from them yesterday, trying to free up some kennel space. 24 of those were from this particular home. We're trying to make more space so we can take more this week from them.
So what will happen with the dogs now?
Right now they need vet care. So first order of business right now is bathing them, which is what we're doing. They've already had their shots, deworming updated. Their vets are going through them. I just passed our vets going through a litter of Chihuahua puppies to make sure that they're healthy and their mama is healthy as well. There's a few older dogs that one needs maybe his eye enucleated. So we're just seeing what sort of help that they'll need. They are friendly comparatively for having that many dogs. What you usually find is that they are very shy because they haven't spent a lot of time with people. But these guys are pretty friendly for what they've been through.
This is the second major animal hoarding case that we've covered in recent months. What generally is the motivation behind animal hoarding?
Yeah, it tends to be connected to mental illness. Anxiety disorders can lead to some hoarding of possessions and sometimes live animals. I think it's important to, I think our initial responses tend to be anger when you find out the conditions animals are kept in, but having compassion for the person who is experiencing that same environment that they have unintentionally created. It's important. It's also important, like this neighbor who alerted people for help, to look out for your friends and neighbors, to find out what's going on with them, to see if we can intervene a little sooner before things get out of control and they suffer and the animals suffer as well.
That is Julie Ulvestad with the Utah Humane Society. If you have a package on the way, you might want to check the tracking information. Packages from overseas are getting stuck in transit over tariffs. Details next. But first, KSL traffic brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
A crash in South Salt Lake on northbound I-15 just after 33rd South. We do have a right lane blocked, and they're trying to get a lot of this crash moved over to the exit ramp near 2100 South. However, we are dealing with delays that stretch back to about 3900 South. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. You may want to double-check the tracking information on international packages shipped to the U.S. European postal carriers now saying they won't send packages and more valuable parcels to the United States in a few days when a tax exemption on low-value packages expires. ABC's Stephen Portnoy explains the latest development as companies adjust to President Trump's tariffs.
More than 1.3 billion times last year, some seller overseas sent some buyer in the U.S. a package that came into this country without a tariff. If what was inside the box cost less than $800, it was imported duty-free under what's known as the de minimis exemption. De minimis is a Latin legal term that, in this context, means too small for the government to care. Well, the popularity of low-cost Chinese retailers Shein and Temu led to a spike in these kinds of shipments, and they've basically grown tenfold over the past decade. Now, the Trump administration is closing what it calls a catastrophic loophole that bypasses tariffs. They also say they want to stamp out illegal shipments of drugs.
About 4 million of those so-called low-value packages entered the U.S. every day. They were exempt from tariffs and paperwork.
Tariff exemption for low-cost Chinese imports ended in May, and starting at the end of this week, tariffs will take effect for all imported goods from every other country, even those under $800. Sounds simple enough, right? No, not so simple. European shipping companies and post offices in particular are so freaked out and confused by this, they're suspending shipments to the U.S. entirely.
Because of all this gray area right now, these companies have decided to just hit the pause button, take a step back, wait and see as more information comes forward in terms of how this is all going to work.
German-based DHL said in a statement, key questions remain unresolved, particularly regarding how and by whom custom duties will be collected. Remember, 1.3 billion packages last year were exempted from tariffs. How exactly is the U.S. Customs Service supposed to collect on that volume of shipping? And how are shippers supposed to pay the tariffs? Nobody seems to be addressing the issue.
Everybody in my industry is on edge. People don't know how to order. I have no idea what kind of prices we're going to be dealing with.
Even with the framework deal the European Union recently struck with the administration, low-cost goods from Europe would still face a 15% import tax. The impending deadline has led to something of a scramble overseas as parcel companies and post offices announced that they're halting deliveries bound for the U.S. Austria's leading shipper says it'll stop accepting packages tomorrow. Others have already stopped. Letters or gifts worth less than $100 won't be impacted as long as they're sent between individuals and not coming from a company. But this could otherwise mean a long delay in shipments from overseas, giving a whole new meaning to snail mail.
That is ABC's Stephen Portnoy on the Start Here podcast. Trump health officials are getting involved in a fight to save a flock of ostriches on a Canadian farm. ABC's Chuck Sievertson has more.
The ostriches were infected with bird flu in December, according to court documents. 69 died. In line with global standards, Canadian health officials ordered the entire flock to be destroyed to prevent any further spread. The farm owners were fined and have been fighting the order in the courts. U.S. Health Secretary Kennedy is interested, says Dr. Mehmet Oz, the top Medicare/Medicaid official. Oz says the ostriches that survived should be studied by scientists. The farm owner says there's been no bird flu on his property for over 6 months.
Google is not letting Apple take all the spotlight. They are unveiling their newest Pixel watch. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more in today's Tech Trends.
Google has pulled the wraps off the 4th generation of its smartwatch. Victoria Song covers wearable technology at The Verge, and she says the Pixel Watch 4 features a circular, curved display under the protective glass.
That has allowed Google to increase brightness by about 50% to 3,000 nits. The bezels are 15% thinner, and there's about 10% more visible screen area.
And in contrast to the first Pixel Watch, which could barely hold a charge for a day, the Watch 4 boasts a bigger battery with fast charging.
And now you can go from 0 to 50% in about 15 minutes with the Pixel Watch 4. That's pretty great.
Google's also integrating an AI workout coach designed to plan regimens for you based on your habits. But Song says that comes with some risk.
With AI hallucinations, you don't want to be told the wrong thing about your health because the stakes are quite high.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
The Google Pixel Watch 4 is now available for pre-order. Turning to local news now, University of Utah researchers say that exposure to industrial pollution can have effects that last for generations. According to their study, pregnant women who are exposed to polluted air can affect the health for their children and any future grandchildren. U sociology professor Sarah Graneski tells KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez what sparked her interest in this particular type of study.
I was aware of some of the animal studies where people are looking at fish and mice and sort of tracking how, several generations after an exposure in a lab setting, you still see health effects in the next generations of mice and fish and those other animals. And so that sort of got me interested in the studies that are similar but look at humans. And there's much less research on humans than animals in terms of these multi-generational impacts. But because we have this amazing data resource here in Utah, the Utah Population Database, you can actually do this type of work on, records of people as opposed to animals in the lab.
Professor Groneski explains how they collected the data on industrial pollution and what they found.
We found that the density of industrial facilities near where a child's maternal grandmother lived when she was pregnant with that child's mother were associated with, a small increase in risk that that child will have intellectual disability. So, our measures, we're trying to work with, historical data. We're going back in time. We're using business directories and then looking at the codes, the industry codes of these historic businesses. And we're basing the codes we're pulling are those that have been associated with a lot of, industrial emissions that have health harming effects contemporarily. And so we're able to sort of try to identify which businesses would be producing chemicals that might be harming people's health. But because we're working historically, we're doing the best we can with these measures. But I was surprising maybe that we even find this. And so you wonder, if we were able to more precisely measure, for example, like the emissions of some of these facilities, what might we find?
She says their research shows that there needs to be stronger regulations to limit industrial pollutants.
And what this study adds, I think, locally, being that it is Utah specific, is that we are seeing these legacies of, historical air pollution, likely air pollution. It could be other, other options too, like we could ingest the chemical or, have contaminated water. We're not really tracking like the source of the pollutant, but based on these locations of industrial facilities, we're seeing these effects. We did another study looking at just the prenatal exposure to industrial emissions here in Utah, and we found those links with intellectual disability. And then our new study is adding these exposures to the, grandmothers and also finding links to the grandchild's risk of intellectual disability. So it definitely speaks to the concerns about industrial exposures and, those potential health and developmental effects.
Plus, she explains how they linked intellectual disability to industrial polluters.
The outcome that we're looking at is specifically intellectual disability. So in collaboration with the Utah Registry for Autism and Developmental Disabilities, who's been great to work with for these projects that our team's been doing, they have done this really systematic records-based screening to identify cases, and then through a partnership with us and then with UPDB and sort of, gaining this access to these records on industrial facility locations too, we're able to look specifically at intellectual disability.
Professor Groneski says in the future they will study how pollutants affect the risk of children developing asthma and cardiovascular diseases. Again, that University of Utah researchers say that exposure to industrial pollution can have effects that last for generations. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A record number of drones flying over wildfires in the region, making things difficult and dangerous for firefighters. President Trump moving to send National Guard troops into other major cities he says are plagued with crime. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
Delays northbound I-15 starting in Murray due to a crash in South Salt Lake. Maria?
Forecast calling for rain for the next few days. Right now, 84 downtown. We'll check our local stories in 1 minute.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump has been signaling he plans to take the model of federalizing the police force in Washington, D.C. and deploying National Guard members to other cities like Baltimore, New York, and Chicago. He says to curb crime. Criticizing the Democratic-led city and state, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker at a briefing this hour says crime in Chicago is dropping and sounded the alarm on any president taking action like this in any city in America.
Like every major American city in both blue and red states, we deal with crime in Chicago. Indeed, the violent crime rate is worse in red states and red cities.
Pritzker says there is not an emergency in Chicago or any other Illinois city that can't be handled by local and state law enforcement. President Trump earlier signed executive orders that would also do away with cashless bail in Washington, D.C. for defendants. Extreme heat taxing residents in western states with heat alerts stretching from the south to the Pacific Northwest. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Students in Box Elder County returned to class this morning for the first time since 2 officers were shot and killed in Tremonton. KSL TV's Brian Carlson was at North Park Elementary.
These parents escorting their children to their first day of class at North Park Elementary, located less than a block away from last week's deadly shooting, where officers Eric Estrada and Sergeant Lee Sorensen were shot and killed responding to a 911 call in the neighborhood. For some families, the new school year is helping them process the tragedy. Does it help to have the kids go back to school to kind of feel more normal?
I think yes, because they will be focused on education, on improving their skills.
That's the goal of police and the Box Elder School District, too. Officers showing up to help kids feel safe.
The school district says they have a social worker on hand to help students. Other national stories KSL is following. The state has spent $29 million on wildfires this year, and most of those have been human-caused. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
Of those $29 million, the federal government will likely pay for $20 million, according to the Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands Director Jamie Barnes. She told the Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands there have been 801 fires so far, and 70% of those have been human-caused.
In previous years, the number of human-caused fires has been closer to around 50%. This year, we've been seeing a lot fewer wrong-way crashes on Utah's roads. The Highway Safety Office says wrong-way crashes on freeways and other divided highways are down by more than 58% compared to last year. Fatalities are also down. Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden says he thinks it's partly because more people are aware of the problem compared to years past.
We've been, really focusing on them for the last several years because we have had such a rash of them in the years prior to this.
Though the current numbers could change because there's still 4 months until 2026 rolls around. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down by nearly 350 points, 0.75%, sitting at 45,282. S&P down by 28 points. The Nasdaq down by 47 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Continued cleanup of a crash northbound I-15 prior to the I-80-201 junction before 2100 South. They do have it mostly moved over to the right shoulder, even though they have been blocking a right lane in that area by the exit ramp to I-80. But for those who are on the main flow of I-15, delays are starting to ease. Traffic's starting to move a little bit better. The backups are now just past 33rd South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
High temperatures staying in the 80s for the next 7 days along the Wasatch Front. We do have a good chance of rain for the next few days. 60% chance today, 90% tomorrow. Today's high 89 and 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Ready to elevate your everyday? Quince has the Luxe Staples Insider Swear By, minus the markup. From 100% European linen styles and 14-karat gold jewelry to gorgeous leather bags and elevated home finds, Quince has it all. And by partnering directly with top artisans and ethical factories, Quince delivers premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Discover everyday luxury without the markup at Quince. Go to quince.com/styleupgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/styleupgrade.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits to complement your unique lifestyle.
Mountain America's My Style checking has perks no one can pass up. You'll enjoy sizzling restaurant deals, peace of mind mobile phone protection, timely telehealth access, built-in identity protection, and clutch loan rate discounts. Make My Style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration or activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
A renewed discussion today over wrong-way drivers on Utah roads. It comes following an incident in Utah County yesterday where an SUV drove south in the northbound lanes of I-15 near Springville. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. As other drivers swerved out of the way, a Utah Highway Patrol trooper crashed into the back of the SUV to stop it down near Payson.
As we conducted our investigation, we did not find any signs of impairment, just found that the driver was a little confused and didn't know that they were traveling wrong way.
UHP Lieutenant Cam Roden says there were only minor injuries from that crash. He tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that despite several stories this year about wrong-way drivers, there are actually fewer fatal crashes involving people heading the wrong way.
We are down a little bit when it comes to wrong-way vehicle crashes. This is something that we've been, really focusing on for the last several years because we have had such a rash of them in the years prior to this that, we've been watching it pretty closely to make sure to see what the contributors are. And for the most part, most of these are impaired drivers, but we do get a few like this one that it may be a confused driver or somebody that just doesn't know where they are. So, but it is good to see that we are down a little bit. We are down with wrong-way driving fatalities, so that's a good trend for us.
Lieutenant Roden says UHP's awareness campaign has really helped bring those crashes down.
A lot of that has to do with awareness. We've been really sharing that message, helping individuals know that this is an issue and what the contributors are, such as impaired driving or other things. And the more that people know that this is an issue, the more they can change behavioral things that contribute to it.
He says that even with the better numbers this year and the overall trend that's looking good too, UHP isn't slowing down their efforts to prevent wrong-way driving on Utah's roads.
It's a combined effort. Law enforcement will go out there and do the piece, like you said. We go out there, we do enforcement, we do DUI blitzes, saturation patrols, trying to get impaired drivers off the road. And we've really focused on that throughout the year, especially around times where we know there's going to be a lot of them out there. And so coupled with people making the right choice right from the beginning, making sure they have that sober ride home. Together, those two things really have helped us to see a difference in wrong-way driving.
That is Lieutenant Cam Roden, Public Information Officer with the Utah Highway Patrol. In other news, a growing number of drones flying over recent Utah wildfires is causing great concern for firefighters. The number of drones interfering at the Buckley Draw fire in Provo last week has heightened their concerns. Sierra Hellstrom with the Northern Utah Type 3 Incident Management Team tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson as of Friday they had 7, but over the weekend that number grew to over 20.
The most I've ever seen on a fire in my experience has been 2. We are to the point where we're almost setting a national precedence on drone intrusions in a wildfire. Those drones not only could cause harm to the aircraft because of midair collisions, but it also distracts the pilots, and where they're flying in dangerous, rocky, steep terrain, any type of distraction where they may have to look away and do avoidance tactics for a drone itself causes an issue of them in the areas that they're flying. On top of that, they are supporting firefighters on the ground. They help cool fire areas and keep fire behavior minimized. So if there are drones in the air, we do ground aircraft for upwards of 30 minutes to an hour, depending on when the drone was last seen, our confidence that the drone is no longer in the airspace. And what that does is really leaves the firefighters on the mountain exposed. If something were to happen, if they were to have an increase of fire behavior, that they needed aerial support. If we needed to medevac someone out, they would not be able to get air support that they needed if our aircraft is grounded. So there's a myriad of dangers that it creates for both our firefighters in the air and on the ground.
She says the airspace over a fire is always restricted, and they are actively trying to locate the drone users who are entering that airspace illegally.
We don't know if it's a consistent person or if it's different people every time. We are doing everything we can to track them down. We have a drone detection device that just became available that we have now brought on scene. And we've got law enforcement monitoring that with our aviation folks that we can hopefully catch these people. It's hard to say what they're using it for, whether it's private citizens just wanting to get a better view, whether it's a social media influencer wanting to get follows, whether it's someone doing it intentionally to slow fire suppression efforts. It's hard to speculate, and I don't ever want to speculate or put reasons behind someone's why they're doing what they're doing, but our main focus is to end it.
Hellstrom says when caught, the drone operators could face felony charges. A U.S. official confirms planning is underway at the Pentagon to potentially send National Guard forces to Chicago to address crime, homelessness, and illegal immigration. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., more than 2,200 National Guard troops deployed by the administration are now armed. President Trump also threatening to send National Guard troops to Baltimore. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more on the Start Here podcast with Stephen Portnoy.
The president has openly discussed expanding this mission, if you will, to include not just Washington, D.C., but other Democratic-run cities across the country. He got into this spat over the weekend with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, who had touted the fact that Baltimore, that signature city in his state, had seen violent crime stats decline. He then challenged the president to walk the streets of Baltimore, presumably with him. And then he said to keep Baltimore's name, quote unquote, out of your mouth. Trump responded to that, lashing out at Moore, and then mused about possibly, if the governor needed them, he said, sending troops to Baltimore the way he did Washington, D.C. Now, Wes Moore responded to all of that later in the day on CBS's Face the Nation.
It's unconstitutional. It's a direct violation of the 10th Amendment. And for a party that talks about state rights, it's amazing how they're having such a big government approach in the way they're conducting public safety.
And then there was this other headline that emerged that same day, Stephen, which is that our Pentagon team at ABC News learned, according to a U.S. official, that plans are being developed to deploy the National Guard, similar to how they were deployed in Washington, D.C., to Chicago, should the president order that action.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says he's in contact with county and state officials, but he's heard nothing from the White House.
What this president is attempting to do is not just unconstitutional, but it is very much a threat to our democracy.
Now, there's been no official order yet, and the Department of Defense has said that they're not going to speculate on any potential future operations. But again, according to this U.S. official, those plans are in the works.
Now, D.C. is one thing. The Constitution gives a lot of power to Congress and the U.S. president. But how would that work in other states where the president doesn't have as much direct power?
Largely, he's allowed to call up the National Guard to respond to periods of civil unrest. It's unclear how the White House defines that term. That's one of the things they use to justify, remember, that deployment of National Guard troops and active duty Marines to Los Angeles earlier this summer.
Marines out now! Marines out now!
And the president's also allowed to use the military, the National Guard in this case, to protect U.S. government buildings and U.S. government personnel. So again, if you think back to what happened in Los Angeles, the ostensible purpose of that deployment, the president and the White House said, was to protect ICE in its operations as U.S. government officials. But the administration will acknowledge, Stephen, the vice president said it just a few days ago, that they don't have the kind of power that they do in other cities like D.C.
We have focused on Washington, D.C. because it's a federal city under our jurisdiction, but we certainly hope that whether it's Atlanta or anywhere else, people are going to look around and say, we don't have to live like this.
But it hasn't stopped the president from musing about and talking about and suggesting that he will deploy troops to other Democratic-run cities.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this.
Now, when the president deployed National Guard troops to Los Angeles, it was met by a lawsuit by California's governor. What are the other states thinking about doing?
So first on that lawsuit, it's still working its way through the federal courts, and it's a lawsuit that alleges that the president doesn't have the authority, was overstepping his authority when he deployed troops for that purpose. The government disputes that. The judge seemed to question the federal government's reasoning when they had their arguments some weeks back, but he has yet to issue his ruling. In terms of those other governors like New York and Illinois, New York's Governor Kathy Hochul, through a spokesperson who gave a statement to ABC News, said that crime in New York City and New York State is going down, and that the insinuation that federal troops would be deployed hurts their efforts to bring crime down in New York. It doesn't help them. And then there was a much more direct response from Illinois' Governor J.B. Pritzker. Pritzker tweeted, Stephen, that there is, quote, no emergency that warrants the president to federalize his state's National Guard or send, quote, active duty military within our borders. He's directly pushing back on what the president's reasoning was for that deployment in Washington, D.C., as you said earlier, that, quote unquote, crime emergency that he declared.
ABC's Jay O'Brien and Stephen Portnoy on the Start Here podcast. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
A new report for the Institute for Free Speech shows that many states fail to adequately protect free speech. But in Utah, we get an A+ for our efforts. I spoke with David Keating, president of the Institute for Free Speech and co-author of the report, to find out what makes us different here in Utah.
Well, what we're looking at here is each state's anti-SLAPP laws. Now, SLAPP stands for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation. And that means essentially somebody doesn't like something you've said or posted online, and they file a lawsuit against you that's frivolous. And an anti-SLAPP law allows you to go to court and get that frivolous lawsuit dismissed right away and get your attorney fees paid when you win the motion to dismiss the lawsuit. So it's a key protection for free speech.
So what is Utah doing that gives us that A+?
Well, Utah modeled its law. It passed, I think, in 2023, but I'd have to check the exact date. Utah used to have a D-, which meant that the law wasn't very good. It didn't cover much speech. But after it was amended, it was either 2022 or 2023, it modeled it after the Uniform Law Commission's Model Act. And the Uniform Law Commission is one of these nonpartisan groups where both Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives work together to come with model laws that each state should adopt. Utah took the Model Act and passed it, and that's why its grade went up.
What can Americans do to be better protecting free speech?
Well, there are a lot of things that we could do, but one hole in this effort to get rid of frivolous lawsuits when you exercise your First Amendment rights would be to have a federal anti-SLAPP law as well, because the state laws only protect you in state courts, and not all of the state laws will protect you if someone files a lawsuit against you in a federal court. So we're working also to get a federal anti-SLAPP law passed soon.
So, David, just address free speech in the country in general. How are we doing?
Well, compared to just about any place in the world, I think we're doing really well. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. There's plenty of room for improvement, not only in anti-slop laws, but in other laws that restrict our right to criticize elected officials. And a lot of these laws are known as grassroots lobbying laws or campaign finance laws. Many of those laws are either unconstitutional or in need of serious repair.
David Keating is the president of the Institute for Free Speech and co-author of the report. Developments to make the Sugar House area more walkable and transit-friendly. Details coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
Some unusual slowing in Utah County on southbound I-15, American Fork to Pleasant Grove. We have a crash in West Valley eastbound on the 21st South Freeway just after Bangerter Highway near 3200 West, blocking a left lane and causing delays. And the final cleanup of the crash in South Salt Lake. The right lane is blocked at that ramp to go to I-80, and this is on northbound I-15 just before 2100 South. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and back to school time. Right now, kids are going back to school throughout the state of Utah, and it's time to get into NPS, where you will find incredible discounts. Now, remember, we talk 20 to 70% off each and every day. But often you'll be walking down the aisle and on something you need and want, there'll be an additional savings. It is amazing, whether it's school clothing, backpacks, supplies, and so much more. And each NPS store is set and ready to help you and your family get back to school. That includes the Salt Lake store at 1600 South Empire, Layton at 1150 North Main Street, and Orem 475 North State Street. And remember, the More Industrial store is right across from the Anchor store in Salt Lake. 4 locations to serve you. I love shopping at NPS. It is truly an adventure, and you never know what treasure awaits you at NPS.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times. But take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Changes coming to Sugar House area that will provide better access to businesses and make the area more walkable. Josh Van Jura with UDOT's Trail and Transit Group tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi they will be expanding the S-Line several blocks to the east. Van Jura says one of the greatest benefits will be to those who need to get medical help at the university clinic. He says they had someone walk to the clinic under the current configuration and learned the expansion will make it much easier for people to walk to the facility.
From the current Fairmont station to get to the west entrance of the U of U Medical Clinic, it took them 11 minutes to walk. And they're, I would say, average physical fitness, right? They're not an ultra marathoner, but, nor do they have any mobility problems. But then they walked it from the new end of line to that west entrance, and it was 2.5 minutes. So much closer for people to get to that U of U Medical Clinic, which, as we know, provides so many services from people throughout the valley.
He says the Sugar House area continues to grow at a rapid rate, so they know the expansion will provide better service to the area.
Since the S-Line opened in 2013, there's actually been 2,000 new housing units that have been developed and roughly 500,000 feet of office space in this area. So obviously Sugar House is growing. And this is actually from a University of Utah report that was authored in 2022. So that's even a couple of years old. If you drive out there today, there is what looks to be roughly a 10-story apartment complex being built right now. You can actually see it from I-80 if you know what you're looking for. But the S-Line it doesn't just provide access to all of those developments, the U of U Medical Center, but it provides access for all of those residents that are, have been and are being built near the development to access Track Central Point Station. And that allows them to transfer to the green line, the red line, the blue line, to different bus routes, but really it provides access to the rest of the valley. So it's a great line to access transit, not only into the Sugar House shopping area, but for all those residents trying to get to everywhere else in the valley.
Van Jura says ridership on the line has already outpaced earlier estimates and will surpass the projected growth by the time the extension is completed in mid-2027. The extension will cost $43 million from city, state, and Utah Transit Authority funds. Thanks for joining me today for Midday. Jeff Kaplan is here to take you home. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.